What would you do if you encountered a giant shark with a lower jaw like a circular saw? Or perhaps a creature so large that nothing in this world is able to contain it aside from our oceans. From some ancient creatures that thankfully no longer exist on our planet, to a couple weird looking deep sea fish that we share our Earth with now, all the way to some wild SCPs that just may exist somewhere else in the multiverse. We really do have it all on today's most amazing top 10 list as we dive into the top 10 deep sea creatures from a parallel universe. Starting off our list in our number 10 spot, we have the Mauisaurus. These guys are a creature that was once very real, but they are thankfully a relic of our past because they are absolutely horrifying. They are named after the Maori god Maui, who is said to have pulled the islands of New Zealand up from the sea floor, so anything named after him is of course going to be an absolute ginormous beast. The neck of this creature measured around 49 feet long, which is the longest proportionate neck of any animal ever. The entire creature measured around 66 feet, so it's clear that their neck counted for a large portion of their body. But like, imagine a swimming dinosaur creature with a snake for a neck. That's kind of what these guys were like. These guys lived on Earth during the Cretaceous period, which is good news for us, but not so much for the other creatures that lived at the time. Creatures would jump into the water to avoid a T-Rex only to find this guy waiting for them. Yeah. No thank you. In our number 9 spot today we have SCP-169. SCP-169 is a bit of an enigma because it is said that it cannot and will never be contained. There's no structure on Earth large or strong enough to hold SCP-169, and while the exact location of it is currently unknown, satellite images suggest that it is located in the southern Atlantic Ocean. SCP-169 is said to be a marine arthropod of massive size and is often referred to as Livyatan. At first it was presumed that the tales were just myths, but during investigations of supposed paranormal activity, its existence became feared. The creature is estimated to have a body length of somewhere from 2,000 to 8,000 kilometers, and it is thought to have existed since the Precambrian era. As far as we know, this single specimen is the only of its kind, and next to nothing is known about its lifestyle. The creature moves quite slowly at a pace of less than 1 kilometer per week, but it is currently believed that it is just adrift. In the area that is believed to be the current location of the creature, there have been regular seismic tremors detected, and this is thought to be indicative of SCP-169's breathing. These tremors cause minor shifts in the island's terrain, so it is believed that the creature is currently dormant. In our number 8 spot today we have the Pacu. The Pacu is a name that refers to several species of fish that actually do exist here on Earth, and they belong to the family of fish that are related to piranhas. There is one reason why these guys freak me out and make me feel like they're from another universe, and that is because they have teeth that literally look like a human's teeth. As relatives of the piranha, you'd think that they would have those same razor sharp teeth and the underbite, but that is simply just not the case. In a positive turn of events, however, despite their aggressive cousin and their creepy teeth, they mostly feed on plant material instead of flesh and scales, so while they're super uncomfortable to look at, they're not a worry to us at all. What if these fish have weird teeth because they came from a universe where fish have human teeth and humans have fish teeth? How do we know that there's no parallel universe where that exists? We don't. In our number 7 spot today we have SCP-3000. The area where SCP-3000 currently resides is a region in the Bay of Bengal that is around 300 kilometers in diameter. Because of the creature, any kind of deep sea diving by civilians is strictly prohibited, because if any contact is made, the humans will need to be immediately contained, quarantined, and processed for an indefinite amount of time. So what is SCP-3000? Well, it is a massive aquatic serpentine creature that resembles the giant moray eel. This one is a mostly sedentary creature, which may be due to its incredibly large size. While its exact measurements are unknown, it is believed to measure somewhere between 600 to 900 kilometers in length. This creature is carnivorous, and although it stays in one spot most of the time, that doesn't mean it doesn't have the ability to quickly snap up its prey. It is said that any direct observation, or even individuals within a certain distance resistance of SCP-3000 will experience inexplicable head pain, paranoia, fear, panic, and memory loss or altercation. All of this being said, I think it's probably just safe to stay far, far away from this one. In our number 6 spot today we have the Blobfish. I have spoken about the Blobfish before, and I will again until they get the justice that they deserve. We've all seen a picture of a blobfish at some point or another. They're that fish that looks like a blob, or they kind of look like that coworker you don't really like, or the person in class who reminds the teacher that there was homework. I'm getting a little carried away, but you catch my drift. They aren't cute, and they were even voted world's ugliest animal, and while I understand why, I think the blobfish is a little misunderstood at the moment. These guys like to make their home deep in the ocean, somewhere from 2,000 to 4,000 feet, where the water pressure is much greater than it is up here. If we tried to visit the natural habitat of the blobfish, we would need some heavy-duty equipment to keep ourselves safe, because our human bodies do not like that kind of pressure. So applying this same logic, the blobfish needs the same kind of protection if it were to come to the surface. Or better yet, we could just leave them alone to live in their little deep sea lives. While in its natural pressure-filled habitat, the blobfish looks like a normal deep sea fish, when it is forced to the surface they turn into these blob-looking guys that we've all been making fun of. I guess what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, okay, these guys are from our Earth, but they're basically from the parallel universe that we call the deep sea. In our number 5 spot today we have SCP-835. This creature is a large mass of coral-like polyps, with each individual polyp being larger than any known coral species. Some have been measured to have grown over a meter in diameter. SCP-835 has a central mass that is roughly shaped like an oval, with a polyp at each end. While this creature is unable to move around the deep sea, they appear to anchor themselves down by their large tentacles that come off of the polyps. The tentacles not only anchor the creature, but they also help in the feeding process, and they are coated with a sticky adhesive substance. This creature has an extremely hard outer shell, which means that diamond drills have been needed in order to help collect even the smallest samples of the specimens. This creature has the ability to secrete a pretty toxic batch of chemicals, parasites, and bacteria, so the idea of completely cracking one open is not something that is currently an option out of fear. SCP-835 also has the ability to grow at an incredibly fast rate, but it can also slow its own growth, even sometimes halting it for a full 24 hours. In our number 4 spot today we have the Helicoprion. This is the weirdest looking sea creature I've ever seen, and I am so glad it does not exist anymore. This is a creature that once swam in our oceans long before any of us were around. These creatures were like sharks, and they grew to be around 15 feet long. Their lower jaw consisted of a tooth whorl, which makes them literally look like a cross between a shark and a circular saw. Jaws just got a whole lot more terrifying. The fossils found of these creatures have shown us that their teeth were serrated, so they most definitely were carnivores, but there has been debate about the exact placement of the teeth within the mouth. Does it matter that much though? A shark combined with a power tool is a bad combo no matter what. These animals were able to survive the Permian-Triassic extinction though, which is a clear testament to their survival capabilities, and this might also mean that they lived extremely deep in our oceans. In our number 3 spot today we have SCP-3934. SCP-3934 is a species of amphibious reptiles that see the males growing to be 1.9 meters on average, and the females growing to be 1.7 meters. These guys are omnivorous and like to snack on fish and aquatic flora. This species was first created in the early 20th century with the intent to sell them as exotic pets, and while the exact circumstances surrounding their creation is unknown, it has been confirmed that some share almost identical skeletal structures with historical plesiosaurs. These guys were part of a whole marketing campaign to make them one of the most desired pets, and that just may be where the whole Loch Ness Monster thing comes from. SCP-3934 are very social animals, and they love to interact with humans as well. While being created, it is said that their behavior patterns were modeled after Labrador retrievers, so it is obvious that this species also makes a great best friend for man. I mean, aside from the whole we don't live in the water thing. Unfortunately, despite the intentions, they don't make great pets as they have a specialized diet and habitat requirements that are not easily met, and this led to a vast majority of the specimens either passing away or being abandoned by those who once owned them. In our number 2 spot today today we have Livyatan Melvillei. These guys were a kind of whale that existed at the same time as the megalodon, so of course this means that they had to be quite a strong contender to match up to the Earth's largest predatory shark to ever exist. Their name of course comes from the Leviathan, and I can totally understand why. These are the whales that ate other whales for food. We know how large whales can be, so that is absolutely insane. These guys had the largest teeth of any animal that uses their teeth to eat. I said that like that because something like an elephant's tusk is technically larger, but elephants don't use those to eat. And they also don't eat whales, so there's that. These guys had heads that were 10 feet long, and they had the same echolocation abilities as whales today have, which makes them even better and more adapted predators. Like having teeth 1.2 feet long wasn't enough, they also needed to have a few special skills. While blue whales are currently our largest animal on Earth, I don't think they would have been able to stand up to these prehistoric whales. In our number 1 spot today we have SCP-1128. This SCP is a little different than the other ones on today's list, and that is because it is more of an etheric entity. This creature has the ability to manifest itself as an enormous aquatic predator, but only to those who have been given its full description of the appearance, so I'll try to refrain from doing that today. People who have been infected by the creature won't really show any symptoms or abnormal behavior, but it is possible that they might show extreme aversion to going into the water. If an infected person enters the water and is fully submerged, no matter the depth, they will completely disappear underneath the surface of the water. Some of the time they will reappear a few moments later in a state of total panic, frantically trying to get out of the water, but other times instead of reappearing above the water, you'll instead see blood and debris cloud the water, with the debris later being able to be confirmed as the vanished person. The lucky ones who have survived have explained that while they had vanished, they were transported to the vast ocean where they were actively being pursued by SCP-1128. I don't know about you guys, but I don't ever want to encounter SCP-1128. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thank you so much for checking it out. I have been your host, Olivia Kozlowski, and I'll see you next time. Bye!